Chaldean Grammar, Chapter 8. Just some special verbs that have their own kind of deal. The verb to have and the verb to be able. So to possess something, to have something, and then to be able to do something. These are special forms of a verb. They don't act like other verbs, but they take forms that are still pretty familiar to you. So start with the verb to have. A special construction is used in Chaldean to express the concept of having and being able to. This construction utilizes the type be endings that are the possessive pronouns and used in the past tense, as well as the existential predicate eth, there is. Okay, so it's just a special way to make a verb in these two cases. The full present tense conjugation of to have is as follows. So let's take a look at this. Here's the present tense conjugation, to have. And these can be pronounced in a couple different ways, so I'll give you different alternates. Itli, itluch, itlach, itle, itla, itlen, itlochen, itle. That's one way to pronounce it. Many dialects of Chaldean silence the lemeth in the present tense and pronounce the words in this way: itti, ittuch. So let's go through it with that pronunciation. So itti, I have. Ittuch, you have. Ittach, you feminine halves. Have. Itte, he has. Itta, she has. Itten, we have. Ittochen, you plural have. Itte, or itli, and so on. So those are two just alternate pronunciations. What's happening here? Well, this is present tense. We actually shouldn't expect these lemeths, these endings, type be endings. We shouldn't expect that in the present tense. The present tense is, qatlin, qatlit, and so on. So this is just a weird verb. The way it comes about is, this is the sort of meaning of it. Eth means there is. We probably have already seen that before. So eth, and it's pronounced it, but it's the kind of root of it is eth. Eth, there is. Li, the lemeth means to or for in this case. Eth li, there is for me. That's just the idiom. That's just the way that we say I have. Eth li, it li, there is for me. I don't think Chaldean people think that way when they're speaking. I think when they say I have, when they say itti, they just think I have. But the sort of historical kind of basis of it in the language seems to be this, most likely. It luch, there is for you, you have. And so on with the rest of the conjugation. So that's it for the present tense of this. It's irregular, but it's using the endings that you already know. It's all the lemon, li, luch, lach, and so on. And it's just this word eth. Negation, if you want to say I don't have something, negation is expressed by replacing the affirmative particle eth, there is, with the negative particle leth, there is not. And again, it's hardened as you pronounce it. So again, there's two ways to pronounce it. To say I do not have, let li. Let li. I know the yod is there, that's just kind of the historical, it's lately, but it's let li. I do not have. Let luch, let lach, let le, let la, let la, let lan, let lochon, let le. Or, again, many Chaldean dialects do not pronounce the second lemeth in this conjugation. So many Chaldeans are going to say let ti, let ti, let tuch, let tach, let te, let ta, let ten, let tochon, let te. Two alternate pronunciations, perfectly good either way. Guess what? If you add a hua to the middle of it, you get the perfect. The perfect is constructed predictably with the addition of wa. So if you want to say I had, if wa li, you put the wa in the middle here. So itti or itli becomes if wa li. If wa li, if wa luch, you had. Ithwalach, you feminine had. Ithwale, he had. Ithwala, she had. Ithwalan, we had. Ithwalochon, you plural had. Ithwale, they had. Those dialects that silence the lemeth in the present tense pronounce it in the perfect. So everyone says ithwali. So the lemeth is always pronounced no matter what. Even if you don't pronounce the lemeth, let's say over here, if you say itti, you say itti, you don't pronounce this lemeth. Even if you don't pronounce that lemeth, everybody pronounces ithwali. The lemeth is always here, always pronounced in any other dialects. Negation is expressed as expected by replacing ith with lith. So now, not only is the lemeth always pronounced, when you say lethwali, the tau, letli, or letti, the tau is softened, lethwali. So it's lethwali, lethwaluch, lethwalach, lethwale, lethwala, lethwalan, lethwalochen, lethwale, to say we did not have, and so on. I did not have, you did not have, and so on. I don't even give you the whole conjugation here because it's so obvious. The future tense is fairly logical too. You have the bid particle, and then you have hawe, which is the present tense of to be. So there will be for me. So it's pronounced like this: bid haweli, I will have. Bid haweluch, bid hawelach, bid hawele, bid hawela, bid hawelan, bid hawelochon, bid hawele. And as usual, every time you see the particle bid, you can, the deleth is sometimes pronounced as a tau. So you can also pronounce this ptaweli, taweluch, tawelach, tawele, and so on. So this has that kind of alternate pronunciation. The negation is irregular. So if you want to say, I will not have, it's just weird. It's just irregular. I wouldn't try to make too much sense of this. Just learn it as it is. You wouldn't really say, la bidhaweli. For some reason, the kap is used, even though it's the present tense marker usually. In this case, you would say lakhaweli. And even though it looks like it's present tense because of the kap, lakhaweli means I will not have. Not sure I can make sense of it, but that's just the way the language is. Lakhaweli, I will not have. Lakhaweluch, you will not have. Lakhawelach, you feminine will not have. Lakhawele, he will not have. Lakhawela, she will not have. Lakhawelan, we will not have. Lakhawelochon, you plural will not have. Lakhawele, they will not have. And that's it. That's the full conjugation of having, of possession. If you want to say, I am able, I can, or I am able to do something, you have a very similar construction, except instead of the lemeth, you have a bith. So if you want to say, I can, or I am able, you say, it's pronounced almost always this way, EB. We spell it eth-b, but it's pronounced EB, I can. Ebuch, you can. Ebach, you can, feminine. Ebe, he can. Eba, she can. Eban, we can. Ebochun, you plural can. Ebe, they can. Again, all the same endings, but here you're using a bith. What does this mean? Let's take a look at this. It's similar to something in English. There's a kind of old-timey English phrase, I've got it in me. Do you have it in you to finish college or something like that? That's kind of what's going on here. Eth, there is. Be, in me. There is in me. And then you have to kind of finish the idea. There is in me to do something. Ebi, I am able. There is in me means I can or I'm able to do whatever the thing is. Eth buch, there is in you, you are able. Probably that's where this came from. Again, negation is expressed by replacing the affirmative eth with the negative lith. So again, lebi. So you can also think of this as la ibi, but lebi, I cannot. There is not in me. I just don't have it in me to do it. Lebi, I cannot. Lebuch, lebach, lebe, leba, leben, lebochen, lebe. There's another way to say this using the dynamic form of the to be verb. And it's just almost a synonym. There's the present progressive tense conjugation. I am able. Hulebi. Hulebi. So hua le bi. Hulebuch. So it is hule buch in you. Hulebi, hulebuch, hulebach, hulebe, huleba, huleban, hulebochon, hulebe. And then you can just put the word la in front of that construction. La hulebi. I was not able, or I am not able. Okay. The perfect, not pretty predictable. You put a wa, so eb, ethb. Again, here's why we spell it, even though it sounds like eb. We spell it with that silent tau up here. Go up here. So if it's pronounced eb, why is that tau there? Because when you want to say it in the perfect, it's pronounced ithwa bi. So now the tau is back and it's softened. Ithwa bi. And if you just if you just spelled it eb without a tau, you wouldn't even know that these words are connected, and you would cause the language to be stupid. So eb becomes ithwa bi, I was able. Ithwa buch, you were able. Ithwa bach, ithwa be, ithwa ba, ithwa ban, ithwa bochon, ithwa be. They were able. And again, negation, lethwa bi, I was not able. Lethwa buch, and so on. And again, it's a softened tau. Lethwa bi, lethwa buch. The future tense, again, follows the same pattern. Bid ha we bi. I will be able. Bid ha we bi. Bid ha we buch. Bid ha we bach. Bid ha we be. Bid ha we ba. Bid ha we ban. Bid ha we bochon. Bid ha we be. They will be able. I will be able, and so on. Again, we have an irregular negative future tense. I will not be able. Again, for some reason, it's the kap that's used. There's no la bid hawebi. It's I will not be able is lek hawebi, lek hawebuch, lek hawebach, lek hawebe, lek haweba, lek haweban, lek hawebochon, lek hawebe. There's a future tense. I am unable. You are unable. And sorry, I will be unable, and so on. I will not be able. Okay. The verb to be able obviously requires another verb to have any meaning. In English, this other verb is placed in the infinitive. So in English, when we say I am able, we complete the thought with an infinitive, to read. I am able to read. I cannot read. We just use the infinitive form, read. In Chaldean, the subjunctive tense is used. So this makes it a little bit more complicated to say and conjugated in accord with the to be able verb preceding it. So I was able to make. Ithwabi, I was able. Ted, which is to, kind of introduces the subjunctive. Ithwabi ted oden. What's this tense right here? Oden is the subjunctive that we learned a few chapters ago. So this is actually it's going to take a little bit of work to be able to use this form. Ithwabi or ibuch or whatever, any form of any of these words in this chapter. You take it, you have to conjugate it in the first person, ithwabi. So now I was able. Ted, then you have to conjugate again. Conjugate means to put it into the correct form. Odin. So this also has to be, may I make. So this also has to be then you have to make sure this is the right form as well. So ithwabi, ted, odin. This ending, B, refers to yourself. Odin also refers to yourself. They're different endings. This is type B endings. This is type A, but you have to match them if you're going to say this correctly. Ithwabi, ted, odin. You can pull. Ibuch, ted, garshit. Or you can, maybe I put it here, or you can just make it deleth. Ibuch, dgarshit. You can just have the deleth here. I should probably add that to the book. Ibuch, dgarshit. So again, ibuch, second person, garshit, second person. Ibuch, dgarshit. They have to match, even though they're from different sets of endings. Type B, type A. But they have to match. You can pull. I mean, really, literally, it is in you that you may pull. That's very literally what's going on here. They will be able to sleep. Bidhawe, they will be able. Ted, damchi. They were able to, they may sleep. Okay? And this is all across the board with every possible combination. That's it. Vocab. Just two verbs. Ibi, I can. Itti, I have. Let's learn some nouns. Ilana is tree. Arimla is a widower. Aramiltha is widow. You just make it feminine to get widow. Bedla is a garment. Bistana is garden. Bosla is onion. Baqa is a gnat or a mosquito. Gnaha is a fault, something you're guilty of. Ginsa is a race or a kind of thing. Dabasha is a bee. Dusha is honey. So you can probably see the connection between these words. A dabasha is a thing that makes dusha. A bee is a thing that makes honey. Deira or dera is a monastery. Dimma is blood. Zara'a is seed. So it looks like you can write some gardening sentences this chapter. Khuwa is a snake. Tina is mud or clay. Taira is a bird. Tarpa is a leaf, but it could also mean a page of a book because, sort of similarity there. Yoma is day. It could also mean daytime. So it can mean day as in the sense of a 24-hour period, but it could also mean daytime. Yona is a dove. Kalba is dog. Nishra is eagle. Amma is a people or a nation. Pa'ala is a worker. Pa'ara or para is a lamb. Orma is a root. Ra'aya is a shepherd. Some adjectives. Mqidha means thin. Smoqa is red. Asqa is difficult. Pthicha is open. Qotmaya means gray. It literally means ashy. Qotma is ash. Qotmaya is ashy, like the color of ash. Qariwa is near or nearby. Randa is good. Rande is good, feminine. We've seen this before. Shachina is warm. Tumraya is brown. It literally means date colored, but this is a good way to say brown. Some people also say qahwaya, meaning coffee colored. It's another way to say brown. Talila is wet. So, you can write some sentences about the wet brown dirt or something like that, when you're practicing. Exercises, just copy this twice, just learn it real well, basically. Some translation into English, some translation to Chaldean. Write a short story entitled My Trip, utilizing all the material from chapters 1 through 8. Yeah, why not? Or if you want to title it something else and make it about something else, that's fine. That's it. See you next chapter.